Good evening. Today is Friday, April 25th, 2025. Your update for Monday the 28th. All right, let's go. Well, no official setups tonight. This UPB caught my eye. I'll show you that in just 1 second. Not super crazy about getting long just yet, but it is encouraging that the database actually produced a long or two tonight. We'll take a look at the portfolio in just 1 second. Here's a UPB. Not a bad looking stock. It's relatively new issue. It does have a lot of overhead supply. I suppose that'd be a really good problem to have. For now, let's just sit on our hands as far as new positions. And I know whenever I mention something, somebody's going to want parameters. So I'd say 950 and about 7 on that one, or 7.5. Depends on how aggressive you want to be. But a point and a half is probably about right. A little bit more liberal, about 2 points would actually probably be a little bit better, since does have a high HV. Also, the other thing to consider too is it's really thin, and the spread can be wide on this one. So be super careful should you decide to do something. That's for all those reasons. That's why I'm just putting it as an honorable mention. I do want to show you that a long did show up, and it's not a bad looking long with those caveats aside. Anyway, still some shorts showing up. Let's just sit tight for now based on the shorts. We could see more and more of these goals setting up. If you felt like you had to do something, this IAG looks okay. I'm not too worried about the gaps, but it does look, again, looks okay. We already have a goal in the portfolio. I'd prefer to have it actually hit the IPT before adding on another one, at least for now, unless I see one that really knocks my socks off. Let's take a look at the portfolio, and then we'll take a look at the overall market and drill down a little bit. AGI, a little bit of an opening gap reversal, not enough to get back to the plus column. No, this one did catch my eye doing scanning, and that's usually a good litmus test. If you see something that excites you, and you're already long or short, that's obviously a good thing. CCL just kind of chopping around in here. Still looks like it's in trouble longer term. So far, just pulling back a little bit, and so far it hasn't even gotten above the 30 EMA. Let's take a look at the overall market and do a little drilling down. As you know, I'm kind of a man on the street kind of guy, and in the gym this morning, the guys were talking about the fact that looks like the market's coming back, and they were talking about how they're holding on, and they're going to ride it out and everything else. So it's like that's usually indicative of the buy and hope type of crowd. But I hope it does come back. As I often say, I don't mind getting short. Ideally hitting the IPTs, of course, and then getting stopped out and then having the market go up and get long. It's much easier to play the long side than the short side, believe me. But anyway, market's got its work cut out for it. Lots of overhead supply here, then lots of overhead supply should you get past that level. Still well below the 50 simple and the 200-day moving average. I know you have to start somewhere. But we do have 2 days running, closes at least. No Landry light, but closes above that 30 EMA. So better than the poke of the eye, but let's not get too excited just yet. Decent day to NASDAQ, up about 1.25%, 2 days above the 30 there. Not quite back to the 50 yet. It could easily retrace to this prior peak in here, which is right around the 200-day moving average, and that tends to happen with technical analysis. A lot of areas come together at the same point. Anyway, so still in trouble, nothing to get excited about. Rusty kind of same as it ever was, a little bit more anemic in the rally from its lows, still remaining in a downtrend. But you know the routine, one day at a time. EFA shares have certainly come back. Look at that. Wow, that's very impressive. Not too far away from all-time highs. Good to see the rest of the world rallying. Maybe that will help us eventually in this process. We'll just have to wait and see, obviously. Bitcoin's getting a bid. It's got a lot of overhead resistance to work through, but it is beginning to improve quite a bit. So that's certainly a good thing there. Gold, the commodity, opening gap reversal, still down in a day, but opening gap reversal nonetheless. Gold stocks looking similar. So far, just pull back, and so far they look poised to resume their uptrends. One area that has come back quite a bit is defense. I wouldn't get too excited until and unless it could get past the prior highs in here and start banging out some brand new highs. But, again, you got to start somewhere, right? Or you have to start somewhere. Let's take a look at some other areas. Looks like the marijuana stocks were one and done. One big update yesterday, and so far they've tailed off in here. Most areas, even with the rallies from lows, such as major drugs, and again, as I would say, quite a bit, robotics, cloud computing, the list goes on and on. So far, just pulling back from lows. And so far, not a whole lot to get excited about. Semiconductors would be another one of those areas. Still well below the 50-day simple moving average. I really don't pay a whole lot of attention to the 50 and the 200 until and unless the market begins to crack a little bit. Then it becomes important. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for now. So not a market where we want to get too excited just yet. But obviously, we'll look at things day by day, and then we'll start seeing some decent long setting up. We'll take it on a setup by setup basis. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. I will be checking in on Facebook throughout the weekend, so feel free to hit me up there. Thanks, everyone, and again, have a great weekend.